Hello everyone, welcome back to Total Football Talks. We're going to look at all the latest news and transfer news coming out of Manchester United, and as always, there's plenty for us to get our teeth into. So we'll look at the top stories. We are, from what it looks like, according to Ben Jacobs, that we are interested in a midfielder. So we'll have a look at who that is. We'll also have a look at the 5 of the players that are coming back, and there's certain things have been said. So these players have had kind of communications with the club in terms of where they stand. Communications have come out from the club that these people are now disgruntled. So we'll have a look at who and what that is all about. We'll also look about the information that we have about whether a striker is a priority for Manchester United. We're looking potentially at another goalkeeper and a little bit on Marcus Rashford as well. There's not much news in terms of Mbuemo. It's the weekend. I don't think we're going to get any news about that particular transfer. It's the 4th of July. It was yesterday. I don't believe that we're going to hear anything over this weekend. So Monday or Tuesday of next week are going to be very, very important days for us going forward. And thank you guys if you're joining me today. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. If you're enjoying the content, please hit the old like button. Please hit the subscribe button. If you want to get your comments in below, that would be absolutely great. Anything that we talk about today, please feel free to chip in and I'll get back to you. And yeah, we'll jump in with the top stories. And that is that according to Ben Jacobs, that Manchester United are among those that are interested in Wilfred Ndidi for around £5 million. Now, Ndidi's a very energetic midfielder. He likes to get around the pitch, has the odd goal in him. He could play in that 6 role, quite combative. And obviously Manchester United, I do think, are looking at a midfielder. There's also, I kind of talked a little bit about it a couple of days ago about Richard Rios. Again, I've not seen that much of him, but there is raving reports coming out from his game against Chelsea, which was played in the early hours of this morning. He plays for Palmeiras. We apparently had a scout at the game, but as far as it goes, that may be it. I actually don't think there's any real movement on Rios. I think, his price tag is between 20 and 30 million. Palmeiras probably don't need to sell now because of obviously their qualification to the quarterfinals. They've made a lot of money. I think it's around 80 plus million they've made. So they're not in desperate need to sell Richard Rios. I'm not entirely sure what his contract is, but the initial talk was kind of between 20 and 30 million pound. So you've got Rios, you've got Ndidi. Who would you prefer to see if we were to sign any one of these players? I think, though, if this is to be the case, we're going to have to sell either Casemiro, Bruno, who we know is not leaving, Menu, who I don't think is going to be leaving either. He looks like he could potentially sign a new contract. Collier's too young to be sort of, replaced in terms of he could be replaced, but he's not going to, if we sell him, we're not going to get much money on him. So yeah, I don't know how that's going to work out. So I just don't know where he fits in that midfield berth at the minute. Even if we do bring a midfielder, and Casemiro doesn't seem to be going anywhere. There's a little bit of talk about the Saudi Pro League, but that doesn't seem to have gone anywhere. Yeah, so I think this is as interesting as it is. Ndidi and Rios, 2 very, very good midfielders. Rios is a bit cheaper and a bit more of a number 8. I'd say Ndidi's a bit older and he can play maybe the 6 a bit better. If we had a sold Bruno and we were bringing in both these players, that could be really interesting. But I just don't think we're going to bring in any of these players as much as I'd like to see them come, and as I think they would really be a big plus to our squad. I just can't see it. So even though there's a lot of talk and speculation, and we may even have had scouts at the game, I think that's about as far as it goes at the minute. I don't think you're going to get a here we go anytime in regarding a midfielder over the next couple of months. Now there has been a lot of talk about Manchester United and the players coming back. Obviously, Sancho, Rashford, Garnacho, Antony, Malacia. Apparently, they've all asked to leave, and apparently this hasn't gone down well. So, they've also, I think what the story is, they've all asked to leave, and this has been made public, and I don't think these players are very happy about the fact that Manchester United have made this public that they all want out. I believe that whenever they come back to training, and maybe some earlier than others, which we spoke about yesterday, they may end up being trained by themselves, or they may end up, their pre-season will start, and it's vitally important that these players get a pre-season, especially with the World Cup coming up in the summer next year. If these players don't have a club and they don't get a pre-season, I think they're going to struggle throughout the season to get up to speed, and they may not get a transfer from a club to a club that they would like to go to. Now, each player's been linked with different clubs. Rashford with Barcelona, Bayern Munich. Antony with Real Betis, we know there's ongoing talks there, but it doesn't seem to be getting done anytime soon. Sancho, again, different clubs have kind of been mooted, but nothing has actually been kind of established yet. A lot of talk about Juventus and a potential transfer for Douglas Luiz, which I would love to see happen, but again, I just don't see how that one works. So I think there's a lot of players there that, Garnacho, we're not entirely sure where he's going to go. Are we actually going to be able to sell these players? Malacia is just another one who, unfortunately, the PSV loan didn't work out, and he's back at the club as well. So Manchester's got a lot of work to do, said before, a lot of work to get through, a lot of players to move on, a lot of money to try and bring in, but I think a lot of these are going to be done at cut price deals, leaving us a lot shorter than what we should get for some of these players that should be worth a lot more money. Again, that's on the board, so we'll just have to see what comes with that one. But as I said, they're disgruntled. They know that they're coming back to potentially just be playing, either training by themselves or training with the youth team. They won't be training with the first team. So I think it's up to them to make sure that they press their agents, and that their agents get out there and start trying to find and make deals happen between now and the end of July. Because if they don't and they miss pre-season, then their whole season could be in jeopardy. Okay, so there was another story that was coming out that Manchester United will prioritise a striker after the Bryan and Mbuemo deals complete. I think this is really important. If we were to transform that front line, we were to have Cunha and Mbuemo and a new striker, excuse me, whether it be Djokovic, whether it be, I don't know, Osman, or I'm not entirely sure who else is out there, links, God forbid, Calvert-Lewin. But yeah, there are strikers that will be available, and it's just whether, who will we get. But it is good that Manchester United will be prioritising that. I still think we need to get them on the, signed before we go on the tour, because if we don't, that's going to be highly disappointing. Whoever it is, unless it's Djokovic, or Djokovic, I can't pronounce his name now. Unless it's the striker from Sporting, I just think that Manchester United are going to find it very difficult to integrate a new striker. Djokovic, he kind of knows the system, so I think that might make that transition slightly easier for him. But if someone else who's trying to learn the system, I think it could be quite difficult, slow and problematic. So I think it's good that we are going to prioritise it, but we need to get the Mbuemo deal done early next week, Monday or Tuesday. It needs to be done. Otherwise, maybe you need to walk away from it and start looking at something else, because we're wasting, we're coming up in 6 weeks now, which just seems a long time. But moving on, Manchester United have made an inquiry about John Victor, who has a release clause apparently of 5.8 million. After meetings, United should formalise an official proposal for the player. Now, I think he's a goalkeeper. I think if he does come in, he's 6'5". He's 29, so he's got plenty of age on his. He's plenty of time. He's got age. He's got experience. I don't know too much about him. But I think he would come in as a backup to Andre Onana. I'd like to think that if he did come in as a backup, he would then be pressurising and put Andre Onana, and maybe even having the opportunity to knock him out of his of the number one spot, because I do think we need a goalkeeper, and I do think Onana is not good enough. He's one of the problems that is not being talked about. So you've got the five, you've got your Garnachos, your Sanchos, Rashford, etc. But we've got other players that still are problematic to this club. Luke Shaw, Andre Onana, just to name a couple, and they're not being talked about at the minute. So that concerns me that we're not actually going to be moving these players on, and they need to be moved on. And then, there was another story that came out from Ben Jacobs, and he was talking about Garnacho and Rashford, and that is Manchester United are making it clear to Rashford and Garnacho right now: 40 million and not available for loan, 60 million and not 50 million. Napoli bid in January. Let's see if things change during the window. So obviously they don't want to loan Rashford out; they want to sell him. They want Garnacho to go for good money. We know that they were worth more money back in January. Well, Garnacho anyway. Manchester United know what they want. They need to try and get this money in. They need to find a way to sell these players. And if they were to make 100+ million, brilliant. Again, I just can't see it. I just think Rashford's going to end out on loan. And maybe we will sell Garnacho, but we could end up selling him for a cut price, which I think would be very, very frustrating at this particular juncture. But yeah, so get your thoughts in. What do you think? What do you think Rashford's worth? What do you think Garnacho's worth? Do you think we're going to sell them? Do you think we're going to loan them out? Where do you kind of stand on all that? I'd love to hear your thoughts on that one. And then the last little one is this is just a little bit of information on Jadon Sancho up to Cora Sport. At Cora Sport, Manchester or Juventus have proposed a swap deal with Manchester United with Jadon Sancho. Douglas Luiz to Manchester United. Sancho has only Juventus in his mind and is willing to take a pay cut. Well, I mean, is he actually going to be taking a pay cut? If he did, then maybe we could do the Douglas Luiz move, which I think would be an excellent move. Very good player, understands the Premier League, would be a good fit for Manchester United. I'd love to see him come. I'd love to see Sancho go the other way. For me, this would be a perfect deal. But again, perfection and deals and swap deals don't really exist in the current climate. As I said, we did one before with Mkhitaryan and Alexis Sanchez. That didn't work out. That ended badly. I just can't see this happening again as much as I'd like it. I think this is more paper talk. But get your thoughts in below. What do you good people out there think? Do you think this is a possibility? Do you think this is something that could happen? I don't know. But yeah, okay, so that's all your news at the minute. If I'll be looking at it again today, and we'll do a little video tomorrow. Thank you very much for joining me. If you're enjoying the content, please hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, get your comments in below. I'd love to hear from you. And yeah, we'll see what happens over the next 24 hours. Probably not a lot. It'll be Monday, I'd say, before we start looking at any great advancements on anything. Okay, I shall speak to you soon.